He was nominated for a Grammy, but lost to James Ingram. He also got the opportunity to work with one of his teenage idols, Aretha Franklin, for who he produced the album Jump to It. The single of the same name was Franklin's first top 40 pop hit in 6 years, and the album went on to go gold. But the honeymoon phase wouldn't last long. While recording Aretha's 1983 follow-up album, Luther was giving Aretha notes and advice on her singing. This upset Aretha, who thought that she didn't need any pointers on how to sing. Plus, she was the one who Luther used to study. How dare he tell her what to do, she thought. The two began arguing back and forth, causing Aretha to walk out of the recording session in New York and drive her bus all the way back to Detroit. The two refused to speak to each other for a while. Clive Davis was calling, asking where the progress was on the album, but Luther had no answers. Until Cissy Houston, mother of Whitney, would call an intervention for the two to talk it out. They eventually got back in the studio and recorded the 1983 Get It Right album, which was also successful for Aretha. Luther's own 1983 album, Busybody, was topped off by the smash single Superstar. It also included How Many Times Can We Say Goodbye, a duet with Dionne Warwick, his main inspiration and a dream collaboration for him.
What inspired you, Luther, to actually become in the industry?
I was sitting in the theater, and this girl singer came on in a red dress, okay? And she sang Don't Make Me Over and Walk On By, okay? And I can tell you specifically that right at that moment, I knew that I wanted to be able to affect people the way that she had affected me. And that, of course, turned out to be Dionne.
Luther and Dionne would become lifelong friends. In 1985, Luther was watching Star Search when he spotted a young boy with a voice like silk. Jimmy Salvemini was a 14-year-old Italian boy from Long Island. Luther immediately contacted Jimmy, thinking he would sound good on some of the songs he was working on. He was managed by his brother, Larry Salvemini. Luther would fly the two out to work with him in Los Angeles, where he would help them negotiate a contract with Elektra Records for $250,000 and produce Jimmy's debut album.
Now, last week last year there were a lot of rumors because you got thin.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you got a new body.
Yeah, you're not going to ask me about that stupid thing.
No, I'm going to ask you what diet you went on.
So irresponsibly wrote in the
I'm not
paper.
going to even mention it. Look at my face.
And
I'm not asking
retracted
you.
in a subsequent issue.
No, but I am going to ask you what you did.
Okay. What I did was I went on a diet, and I lost 126 pounds.
Also in 1985, Luther would threaten to sue Blues and Soul, a British music magazine, for wrongly printing that he was suffering from the AIDS virus. Luther denied having the disease and would make the rounds to different media outlets to shut down the rumor. Nevertheless, the damage was done, and this would add fuel to the questions many people had about his love life. It didn't help the rumors that Luther had shed a bunch of weight during this time. His new svelte physique was a testament to something else, though: love. He was in a relationship, and due to that, wanted to look nice for his new partner. But of course, he never shared who the person was with the public. Luther was a very private person. He was never seen with lovers. We never knew if they were male or female. He never talked about them. But from his music, we all knew that he had love inside of him. He just wouldn't tell us. Luther and the Salvemini brothers were working on Jimmy's album in Los Angeles. During this time, he became very close with them, showing them around town and working on music. Luther was pulling out all the stops for the album, calling Irene Cara and Cheryl Lynn to appear on the record. The day after the album was finished, Jimmy, Larry, and Luther were driving in Luther's Mercedes on Laurel Canyon Boulevard when suddenly there was a crash. Luther came away with minor injuries. Jimmy was rushed to the hospital with a collapsed lung. But Larry was in much worse shape and eventually passed away at the hospital. Prosecutors initially charged Luther with felony vehicular manslaughter, but later determined they lacked the evidence to indict him. The Salvemini family would file an unlawful death suit against Luther, and the case would be settled for around $630,000. This loss deeply impacted Luther. He would never talk about it in the media, but for all accounts, Larry had become one of his best friends, and his death was not only heartbreaking but personally traumatizing for him. But even through grief, the show went on. Luther's 1986 album, Give Me the Reason, solidified his reputation as a leading R&B artist.
Love has truly been good to me, and not even one sad day or minute have I had since you've come my way.
The album included the hit singles Stop to Love and So Amazing. Vandross's music videos from this period also gained significant airplay on MTV, further expanding his audience and giving him crossover appeal.
That my biggest weight. And across the hall walked one of the waiters. And I said, "See, Whitney," I said, "that's the size I want to get down to." And she said, "Why?"
I said, well, I said, look at, I said, he has a 34 waist. He's my height, it's just right. She said, yeah, but Luther, he can't sing.
Despite his success, Vandross faced several personal and professional challenges. His struggle with weight gain and health issues was a constant battle throughout his life. This was exacerbated with the loss of his drummer Yogi Horton, who had passed away in 1987 from a self-inflicted fall. Luther had gained 120 pounds through his grief, and the person fans had seen in the MTV videos looked different when they caught him in person. Nevertheless, Luther was a superstar, some would even call him a diva, and he had many battles with the other divas of the day. One of his most famous feuds was between him and Anita Baker. Anita was at the top of her game in the late 80s, fresh off her hit album Rapture. Their beef all began during the 1987 Grammys. Luther and Anita had agreed to sing the Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell duet, Your Precious Love, and had rehearsed everything to be on the live television broadcast. However, on the day of the Grammys,